For a century and a half, California was in an almost constant state of growth, with booming business and expanding population.
There's something magic in California. The culture just seamlessly and consistently moves towards what's next with new ideas.
California's gold rush that started in 1848 led to one of the largest migrations in U.S. history, with hundreds of thousands coming from across the country and the world. The population explosion qualified California for statehood in 1850, just a few years after it was ceded by Mexico. California was an economic powerhouse by the end of the century, home to iconic brands like Wells Fargo and Levi Strauss. Scientists and researchers started flocking to the Bay Area in the early 1900s when San Francisco's port and nearby Moffett Field made the area a major hub for early telegraph, radio, and aerospace industries. Stanford University, founded in 1885, led the way in encouraging students to commercialize their ideas, leading two graduate students to start what many consider the first Silicon Valley startup in 1939, Hewlett-Packard.
As of 2016, the population of California was 39,250,017. The median household income for California is $67,169 per year. The median home sale price in Los Angeles, California, is about $420,000. The median home sale price in San Francisco, California, is about $770,000. The median home sale price in San Diego, California, is about $504,000.
California taxes are so high they could be considered oppressive. California takes 13.3% of your income just for the state, and then if you have the nerve to buy something, they get an additional 7.5% in sales tax. These taxes combined with the high cost of living is what's driving so many people out of California.
We pay some of the highest taxes in the country. And there are still tent cities. There are still homeless and drug abusers wandering the streets.
California's tax rate is the highest in the nation, and it's about to get a whole lot higher. As millions of people are fleeing California, the state is working hard to increase existing taxes, as well as create new types of taxes on those that are left behind. The goal of the new taxes is to tax high net worth individuals on a percent of their global wealth, as well as create an exit tax that will follow them even if they decide to leave. California is rushing to enact an exit tax which will track California residents that are fleeing the state to continue paying taxes for a whole decade after they leave the state. The second tax, the wealth tax, would tax Californians based on their worldwide net worth. This would likely have a severely detrimental effect on California's already top-heavy tax base. The top 1% of income earners currently pay about half of California's income tax collections. And California's tax system is already considered the most progressive in the nation.
Frankly, in my judgment, it weakens whatever position that we think we might have if we're dealing with political or development or whatever the case may be. And I think that being more supportive of each other as we go through this process would produce a better result if we're focused specifically on the Black community.
And it's not that way, perhaps due to some, how do I put it, misguided compassion.
Now the challenge for real estate projects is the market is bigger than just the Black community, and so you have to be able to build a product that can sustain itself inside the market element as well as addressing itself to the needs of the Black community.
California has been the leading indicator in software, digital technology, modern mobility, the environment, the space industry, and is the front door between the United States of America and the Pacific Rim and the Asian markets.
California's economy has grown to the fifth largest in the world. It had $65.6 billion in VC investment in 2019, by far the highest of any state.
So watching our state fumble and stumble is not just something that's a California issue. It is a national and global issue.
Los Angeles, for the past, I'd say, since I've been here, and I'm sure before that, seems to have this attitude that, well, what are you gonna do? You gonna move? Where are you gonna go? There's a lot of places to go. You go to Georgia, you go to Texas, you could go to New England, You could go to just about anywhere. The sky is the limit. It's a whole big world.
The most recent IRS migration data shows that on net, over 60,000 Californians moved out of the state between 2017 and 2018, resulting in a net loss of $8 billion in adjusted gross income. Between 2010 and 2018, the state's tax base shrank by nearly $25 billion.
This is Dave and Carrie Arata, who say the Golden State is no longer shining as bright.
California's changed immeasurably, not only in politics, but in growth, homeless and drugs and needles.
And I just said, I'm never coming back here because I want to remember it like I remember it.
The couple is now settling in Boerne, northwest of San Antonio. This is Cordillera Ranch, an exclusive community in the Texas Hill Country. It's 8,700 acres. This property is currently under contract with buyers moving from California.
And it's right around 3 acres. It's a great, entertaining home.
The minute a home hits the market here, I mean, they're going under contract so fast right now.
With large windows.
Jamie Ammerman, a real estate agent with Cooper Sotheby's, is showing houses to more Californians in recent months.
A couple of weekends ago, we had 7 families from California. They didn't know each other, but one weekend they were all here looking at different homes.
Added lighting
She
at
says
nighttime.
they're willing to pay the Texas price. For example, these are the housing costs for 2 adults for Orange County and Kendall County. It's 66% higher to live in that county in California.
I think they feel like they're getting a lot for their money. Cordillera Ranch in general is such a special place because it's like living on a resort. You have access to the Guadalupe River. There's a fabulous Jack Nicklaus golf course here. There's a skeet shooting club. There's so many opportunities to just be outside.
And what's happening?
A significant selling point that sealed the deal for the Aratas.
There's a lot of my friends who are lawyers that are retiring that are seriously thinking about coming here.
The country, I like seeing the horses. I just love that feeling, and I like the slow pace.
There are a lot of good reasons to leave LA. I can't deny it. The rents are very high. If you want to own a home, you better have just won the lottery. I'm not kidding. Even $1 million home here is not very impressive.
We are not trying to California, Texas. We love Texas.
According to Marie Bailey, the coronavirus is pushing people out here.
It's speeding up.
She's got a good pulse on the pandemic shift as the creator behind a Facebook group called Move to Texas from California.
I think a lot of this has bubbled to the surface with the extended lockdown. Everyone said it's going to be 2 weeks. Don't worry about it. It's just going to be 2 weeks. We're going to get an idea of what's going on and have a plan. And with that lockdown, what we found is a lot of the amenities that people who live in LA like to use, such as gyms, spas, concerts, restaurants, comedy clubs, they're all gone. We can't use them anymore. We're stuck in our houses, our very expensive houses, thinking, I'm paying $2,000, $3,000 a month for no floor space, no pool, no amenities. I'm just here. And that has sent a lot of people fleeing, which I completely understand. I get it. Maybe LA should treat its people a little better.
I'm not gonna pay these like crazy New York prices or California prices when I can go somewhere else if I can work from anywhere. Another reason is California has such a severe shutdown that it's really put many more people out of business. You can pay us enough to go back.
For the longest time, you wanted to run in those circles. If you were in tech, you needed to be able to run into other people in tech and have that, that brain there in one place. Increasingly, I think HP and others are sending the signal in a much more remote work-oriented environment where we have the tech, and we've also had this forced experiment in remote work that basically succeeded, that Silicon Valley is wherever you want to be.
All that venture capital is concentrated in San Francisco and Silicon Valley. But once those businesses do get a cash infusion from venture capital and get on their feet and become successful, then the advantage of being in California and Silicon Valley is much less. And that's when we see them leaving.
HP is moving its enterprise division headquarters to Houston, and many others are following. Oracle, founded in the 70s alongside Apple and Atari, announced in December that it's relocated its headquarters to Austin. Palantir is relocating to Denver. Elon Musk moved from Los Angeles to Austin, where Tesla's building its next gigafactory.
What really is surprising is the really major big companies that have put down roots here are the ones that are leaving. The mom and pops are going as well, but when they leave, they take 20 workers or 30 workers with them. They're not taking thousands of workers with them, and they're not taking Elon Musk.
Other major companies that have moved their headquarters out of California in recent years include Toyota, Charles Schwab, Nestle, and Jamba Juice. A 2018 study found that 1,800 companies left in 2016 alone, relocating mostly to Texas, followed by Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, Oregon, and Washington. This has been a trend for a while, but it's accelerated now.
We have high taxes, high housing costs. Cost of living in California is about 50% higher than the median state. Public services are not being delivered. So we've never really had all of that combination occurring as we've had in the past. And we've never had alternative places to move to. So for example, now in Texas, in Austin, Texas, there's a big tech hub there.
Now that the pandemic has largely made commute times irrelevant, moving is easier and makes more financial sense.
The police treat us like walking, talking piggy banks. And when they need a little bit more money, they just go to the piggy bank and shake it out. Shake it out of you. You're an LA driver, the police just come and shake out your money.
Financial, RAPE. Driving, stop at a stop sign, keep going. 1 minute later, officer puts his lights on, gives me a ticket for failing to stop at a stop sign. I go to the post office, I come back, I see the officer pulling over, well, he wasn't pulling over, he already pulled over another car, a red 2016 Toyota Tacoma. And then as I'm going and taking pictures of the scene of where the traffic violation occurred, so because I'm gonna fight this case, I see him pull over a Range Rover. So 3 cars, I personally seen him pull over, including myself, within a matter of 1-2 hours. So who knows how many other people we pulled over while I was at the post office or on my way back. Now again, $60 is for the parking ticket, by the way. The citation I got was a traffic violation, so I'm looking more at like $200+ for that traffic violation. I've just got a speeding ticket not too long ago, and I did traffic school, and altogether I paid somewhere around $400 for that ticket. And so parking tickets, you're gonna expect to get those. Traffic tickets, you know, some people just don't run into officers that much. Some people, I guess if you're like me, maybe you run into them more, I don't know.
Since I've moved here, another problem has reared its ugly head, and that is homelessness. An influx of homeless that you could not even fathom. Outside of the Target, there are at least 5 tents set up. Everywhere is a tent city now. Outside the courthouse in Van Nuys, tent city. Don't even get me started on Skid Row downtown. That is the most famous tent city in the whole world.
There are approximately 6,000 homeless people on Skid Row currently, and it spreads over 54 blocks.
In the 1970s, Skid Row, downtown LA, was established as a containment zone for homeless inhabitants. In this area, shelters, services for the homeless people would be allowed to be tolerated and assisted by Los Angeles's infrastructure to be able to provide help to individuals that are homeless. And so this area has been sanctioned by Los Angeles, and it's 3 square miles.
Did you know 49% of America's homeless live in California? Absolutely insane. 26 million Americans don't have enough to eat due to the pandemic and the shutdowns. And the shutdowns are most severe in California.
It's a new phenomenon. When I first moved here, there weren't homeless everywhere. You could go to Santa Monica and sit on the beach and not be bothered. You could go to West Hollywood and have a glass of wine outside with your friend. It's just not that way anymore.
In plain sight, a homeless encampment at LAX. That's one of the first things that travelers see at the airport. The homeless, many of them mentally ill, turning to the terminals, turning these terminals in one of the city's biggest encampments It is another of LA's streets of shame.
But most of the homeless living at LAX quietly blend in, looking more like tourists like Hashim Amani, who says he lives in the Bradley International Terminal because there are clean bathrooms to wash up in and plenty of places to charge his phone. Martell Lewis says sleeping at the airport is much safer than at a shelter.
I'm pretty much comfortable here for right now because it's a cleaner place.
Up to 130 homeless people set up camp each night inside LAX terminals. That's more than twice the number at many of the city's biggest homeless encampments. The majority of the homeless at the airport suffer from mental illness and/or substance abuse and could be a danger to themselves or to others.
Gentrification is a process of changing the character of a neighborhood through the influx of more affluent residents and businesses. It is a common and controversial topic in politics and in urban planning. Gentrification often increases the economic value of a neighborhood, but the resulting demographic change is frequently a cause of controversy.
You think about the gentrification that's going on out here in LA, man.
I mean, it's a lot. I think about it for real.
Yeah. What the hell are black people in LA now?
Lancaster.
Yeah, Lancaster. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get a house for a couple $100,000, a 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom out there, and you see the crime going up. You see they moving. You know, it was like, I take it, I wasn't around for the last migration, but I heard it from my granny stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on right now. They relocating our people.
Yeah, absolutely.
From policy. You know what I'm saying? And they building a train down Crenshaw. They spending $3 billion on that development. You know, and that's having an effect on the price of real estate. So it's ways, and you gotta have your hands on some capital.
Absolutely.
But you know, you can team up, and if you are aware of the opportunity, you can team up with people that do got capital and be involved in it.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, out here in LA, they're building a football stadium out here in Inglewood, and they're trying to price a lot of the black businesses out. So they need to start linking up so they can control the politics out here. Real heavy stuff.
Gerrymandering is a practice intended to establish an unfair political advantage for a particular party or group by manipulating district boundaries, which is most commonly used in first-past-the-post electoral systems. Two principal tactics are used in gerrymandering: cracking and packing.
I'm a Republican, because you asked are there any Republicans that are part of your battle. I'm a Republican, but it is not a Republican issue, and it is not a Democratic issue. Both parties do the same thing. In some states it's the Republicans that do it, the gerrymandering, and in some states it's the Democrats that do it. And the bottom line is we are here today to ask the Supreme Court to fix something that the politicians will never do. As Einstein said, those who created the problem will not be able to solve it. And this is exactly what will happen here. Because the politicians are interested in only one thing, and this is to stay in power. To stay in power no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. And to protect the incumbent. And why do they want to protect the incumbent? Because they don't have to create any performance, no action. And you protect the incumbent, you're protecting them so there's no competition. And when there's a lack of competition, then there's a lack of action and performance. And that's what we have seen in the last 20 years now. A lack of action, a lack of performance. They will not fix the politicians, so that's why we are here at the Supreme Court and ask the Supreme Court to help us fix the system and to get rid of this kind of terrible gerrymandering that is really a fixed system where the politicians choose the voters.
Please like, share, and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified each time I post another video.